start. Okay, Grace? Hello, everyone. Right, apologies for absence. I do believe we have one or two. I know that Martin has given apologies. Grace, do you have others? Am I right in thinking Mariam's not well currently? And Tim might turn up.
Yeah, Tim.
We'll leave that one open.
Tim.
So we have
work hours that me, so he's often late.
Are you happy that we accept the apologies from the two? Well, at least Martin and probably Mariam.
No problem.
Okay, good. Thank you. Does anyone have any interest to declare in relation to any of the planning applications? Good. Here's Tim. Any interest to declare, Tim? No. Good. So the minutes of the last meeting held on 7th of January, are you happy that I sign those off in due course as a true record of that meeting? Proposed by Roger here on my right and seconded by David. Thank you. All those in favour of minutes? Weren't you at the meeting?
Sadly not. I wasn't at the meeting. I had a lot of engagements. Thank you.
I don't have anything to report in the chair's report on agenda item number 5, and we don't have any members of the public here, so we could skip straight into the planning applications, which we'll hopefully be able to illustrate on the screen. There we are. So existing and proposed for the application 2678 45 The Finches, proposed erection of a 2-storey extension to the northwest rear elevation. Okay.
23 High Street Sports Direct.
Does it really? Yes, it does. We've got the wrong one.
That extension's so large they put the sports
So we haven't quite got the right one. Right, there we are. Do we have any comments to make about this particular one, Bob?
Yeah, it's not a comment about the planning application. Can I just note that it's really nice to see the plans going up on screen. I think it's a massive improvement, and I hope that the town council site will make that statement, because I think it's good for the public to know that.
All thanks to Grace. Thank you. Right, noted. Roger.
Just very briefly, I've had a look through these plans. I don't see anything untoward here. This area has had a fair number of extensions in it as well. There's more than enough room within their property and boundaries to do it, and it's not particularly overlooking anybody or blocking anybody's light. Equally, there's been no online objections so far, so I'm quite happy with that.
Okay. Do we?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, you're very welcome. Unless you're talking about 45 The Finches. Are you? Yeah? No? Right. Okay. Well, I'll come back to you in a minute then. So Roger's comments, any further comments to make on that one? So we make an observation of no objection. Correct. All in favour of that? And fine. Thank you. So yes, welcome. Do you wish to participate? Because we have kind of skipped that a little bit in the agenda. Do you? Yeah, it will. We'll come to that at the end of. Okay, fine.
Do you want to bring that forward for him?
We won't be very long. Yep. Okay. Then moving on to 0018, which is 51 The Bramleys, proposed demolition of the existing conservatory and erection of a new single-storey rear extension and partial conversion of the existing garage into a gym and playroom. So again, at the rear of the property, and from my point of view, I didn't have any objections to this. Comments from anyone? Roger?
Pretty much ditto on the last one, to be totally honest. It feels appropriate and well sized in an area where this type of thing has happened. They're relatively large houses anyway, so I don't see any issues.
Yep. No. Therefore, recommendation of no objection, correct? Proposed, Roger, seconded, Bob, and all in favour. So the next one, or two, 0020 and 0021, in relation to the banking hub, we did discuss last month. So it's sort of come back. I don't quite know why it's back onto this agenda. We're not sure whether it's yet been signed off. It's the old plaza, hairdressing, creation of the banking hub and replacement of the existing shop front and door, installation of the ATM within the new shop front, new louvered apertures and replacement of the existing condenser on the side elevation in the alleyway, and then advertising consent for ditto such installations. So I know that we all had no objection to it. In fact, very favourable in terms of seeing the banking hub coming. Let's just hope that they do sort the lease out if it's not already been done. Roger.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from a planning perspective, it doesn't matter whether they have the lease sorted out or not. We just deal with it as is. But yeah, as we said last time, I think this is something that's very much welcome in our high streets, and everything that is listed down here is normal for a shop of that type on the high street.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think we're a little light on ATMs, aren't we, in the high street since a few banks have shut.
Well, there's only the one, as far as I'm
With,
aware, which is NatWest, which will be going shortly.
Yeah,
So.
we used to have 4 or 5 in the high street, and now there's one. So I guess we'll lose that one and gain this one. So we won't get a net gain, but I think it's really important we do have access to cash in our high streets.
Okay. Bob?
Yeah, I was just going to say, being old school, the vulnerability of technology and the cash is quite a concern to me. I'd rather have cash than a card, and obviously now tapping everything on a phone just makes me feel a bit more vulnerable. But again, it's just me trying to
So you'd be
understand that.
welcoming the ATM.
Yeah, it's just trying to understand that technology. I think, for the older generation, like they say, cash is king still, I think.
Right. So I assume that both these applications, no objection from us here.
It's worth noting there have been 4 public comments, 3 supporting and 1 neutral. There's one concern about parking accessibility, I think.
Well, it's the case with any of the 4 banks, as was.
Plenty of parking in Roath Road car park for a very small fee.
There is an adequate customer or cash delivery parking when there are at least 2 purpose-built empty banks premises nearby with more suitable facilities. Actually, this is a neutral one, and I don't think we can do anything about it.
No. They'll note the comments down at North Somerset. Bob?
Yeah, just the point of the yellow lines, that people need to remember that the yellow lines are on the pavement, which means no parking at all, whether you're disabled or not. And obviously you don't have the 5 minutes grace of parking on yellow lines there. So obviously if the traffic warden is about, he will book you.
Point noted. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move that one. There's no objection on both those. Roger again, and seconded by David, and all in favour of no objection. Thank you. Moving on to 0031, SJA. Prior approval for the installation of 36 photovoltaic solar panels to the roof of the Unit B1 on the Keys Office Park, Conference Avenue. Any comments? Yeah.
I honestly don't. I honestly don't know why these solar panels aren't put as a matter of course on every single building in this country. It seems madness that that they have to be retrofitted many years after the buildings have been put up. However, I do welcome people retrofitting these to their roofs because in the long run it will work well for our country and well for our climate.
Right. So no objection again, and all in favour. Yep. Okay. 0048, section 73 on Rodmore on Battery Lane, which we dealt with last month or the month before. And this is to put the zinc roof, which is matching the main house, which has been approved, onto the garage, the double garage on the grounds. So again, I personally don't have any objection to this one. I can see nodding heads. Someone like to propose? No objection. David, seconded by Tim. Right. Thank you. And then lastly on this little section, 0065, full application for proposed construction of a single-storey rear extension to provide additional living accommodation at 53 Lower Burlington Road, which is up on the screen. There we are. Now, I'm not sure whether others have done this on that particular section of Burlington. Yeah.
I can't answer that one, but what I will say is when I first saw this one, it raised alarm bells because I know that there's not very much room around Burlington Road at all, and most of them have very small rear yards. But on going through the plans in a bit more detail, this is actually one of the larger ones there. It's got quite a bit of space out the back. With the proposed extension, it still retains a fair amount of space as well. So I couldn't find any reason to say this is inappropriate. I think it's exactly what other people have been doing. It doesn't overlook anybody. It doesn't cause light issues for anyone. And I don't think there's any objections online.
Right, which I was just going to ask you, David.
Going by the road, there are several extensions on that side.
Okay, so someone wish to make a proposal here? Tim?
No objection.
No objection. It's in your ward, isn't it? Yeah. Seconded by David. No objection then. Of us, yes. A couple of trees then. TPOs 2520 at 5 Firthcliffe Park, which I think we dealt with last month as well, didn't we? Or certainly, yeah. So no objection on that one, presumably. And then TPOs on 2559, which are the collection of predominantly lime trees on the corner of Pier and Leaview Road. And along that stretch, I think, of Leaview Road, which presumably have to be pollarded from time to time, don't they, and dealt with. So there's a bit of a longish report there, but any comments from anyone in relation to those?
Did you not bring both of those up at the last meeting?
I don't
I'm
recall
sure
the second one.
I'm not sure.
I think Firthcliffe, yes, but
I think my
might be wrong.
partner was obviously online, and I'm pretty sure you brought both up.
Okay.
I know there was a number of trees at the last meeting that were brought up. I'm not sure either of these two were, but there were some ash trees mentioned. I think it might have been over by Clarence.
There was one over there, and there's one up at the Royal.
There's one so yeah, I think it might just be the same type of trees, but in different locations.
And we have an illustration of the trees at Leaview Road there, and Pier Road. So a lot of pollarding to do there.
Following the rewild.
Right. Okay. Right. So agenda item 9, lake planning applications and consultations. Now there was only one, which I noted, which I'll just comment on because it's a retrospective one. 0017 down at 105 High Street, which is about 2 doors further on, opposite Court Farm. And in 1992, the building, which is Edwardian, was converted into office use and had about 8 offices in there, which were all really using bedrooms and lounges and things. And they want to convert it back, or maybe it's already been done, into a dwelling. It was being purchased at auction, and the current owner wishes to turn it into a dwelling, which will be a 4 to 5 bedroom house. So anyway, that is retrospective. I'm assuming that if it goes, do we want to make a comment about it now? You want to refer it for next month? All right. Fair enough. Any further comments?
Just that if it's been converted to offices,
In 92.
sorry, yeah, so it was previously converted from a private dwelling to offices.
Yes.
And I believe there's a sort of standing thing that you can convert them back to private dwellings. It's one of those uses that never really leaves the dwelling.
Yeah.
Because you just get permission to use it as a business or as an office category A.
Well,
Whatever
technically,
it was, I
it's
think.
Class E in brackets 1 to change into Class C3.
Yeah,
So it's professional services into a dwelling.
yeah. So honestly, I mean, it's a house. Turning it back into a house from offices feels like the right thing to do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there were comments online, not from members of the public, in relation to the loss of office space, which was part of the argument in relation to the consultation that went through, as noted by the applicant. But it was felt that it had been marketed as an office and no one had taken it up, so it got withdrawn and then it was put into an auction situation. Right. A late appeal, 259 East Cliff. That was
There are a few more late applications online
Well, I didn't see them. Where did you find them?
on Saturday.
All right.
There's a
I looked earlier this evening and only one came up, and that's the one I've just read out. What have you got there?
I've got a request to discharge. So that application we looked at about 2 meetings back, where the gentleman wanted to let out for holiday lets the bird watching
Oh,
hub.
yeah.
So he's now applied. One of the conditions was that he put forward the holiday let management plan,
Mhm.
which is done. So
Right.
I can read out the reference if people want to look at it, or should we save it for next?
Well, has anyone else seen it? No, I think we're going to have to defer that. Yeah.
And
Adrian himself might wish to come back and
yeah,
discuss this.
Yeah, my concerns, there was obviously quite some public concern about it, so
Yes.
I would rather refer it.
Yeah, right. Defer that one too.
I had some comments about that, but I can make them next time.
Mhm.
There are also some trees with TPOs on that went up on towards the tail end of last week, including a group by Rockley and Beach Cliff,
Yes,
which I think I mentioned to you, Mike.
you did.
I think, and there's quite a few there are about 4 comments online about that, and I've spoken to a couple of the people who live in that area. But basically, most people are in support of the pruning activities that are proposed. They're proposing to prune back, to take down 3 false acacias trees, but the pine trees, which I think are can't remember the name of the pine trees, but they're quite obvious pine trees that you can see from Kilkenny Fields when you look down towards Battery Point. There's concern that one of those recently fell across the driveway to that set of houses and interrupted the power supply. And the comments online are simply saying, they're happy to support what's planned, and that's pruning back dead wood, but they're also concerned about one of the particular trees, tree number 295 on the plan, which is leaning at an angle of about 45 degrees and is looking unsafe, and there's a sense that we should consider taking that down as well. So rather than sort of pass it by, I think we should either look at it, postpone it to next time and discuss it, and just let North Somerset Council know that we're going to look at it in a month's time. And the other issue there is that I think when they did some tree work just a few weeks ago, the drive was blocked by the the vehicles that were doing the work, so people couldn't get out of their houses. And so I think residents would appreciate more notice or some notice that the work is happening, so they can park their cars on the far side of the where the work's happening.
Okay, yeah, good point.
So should we come back to that next time?
Yes, indeed. I'm happy for that to be the case, unless, of course, the work obviously goes on in the meanwhile, if it's fairly dangerous looking trees.
It's been like that for a long time, and
Oh,
but the residents are really worried about potentially falling on their houses.
These are TPO works, aren't they? So they'll go to the trees officer down at North Somerset who'll make a final determination anyway. If we've got one at a 45-degree angle, probably don't want to delay that any more than is necessary. So unless we've got a good reason to say we would object to it, which I don't think we do, it might be an idea for us to just flag that one through and let the trees officer make the final decision, especially as it feels like it's probably a safety issue.
Yeah, but in the tree officer's report, that one isn't scheduled for taking down. Interestingly, the 3 trees that they're planning to take down are relatively short, small trees compared to those pines. So I think what if we're going to put in a recommendation, it would be that could they reconsider that dangerously leaning tree, because residents are concerned about risk to life, car damage, and so on and so forth. Could they also make sure the residents are given plenty of notice before the work's done?
I'd be happy to second that if you're proposing.
Yeah.
Grace, are you happy to flag that one up, even though it's not on the agenda? Okay.
Yeah, that's tree number 295.
Is that the planning application number?
The planning application number is 26/P/0002/TPO.
0002.
/TPO.
Okay, thanks. Bob, did you want to add anything?
No, I was just wondering what wording we were going to use to add to that.
Okay.
I would say, and I'm happy to exchange emails with you guys, but we propose supporting what's the necessary work that's been proposed by the arborealist. We request that residents are given plenty of notice, given at least 24-hour notice before the work commences, and that consideration is given to the tree at a 45-degree angle on whether it is indeed safe, and that's tree number 295 on their plan.
Right. Yep. Thanks, David. Okay, then agenda item number 11 is highways improvements, and we have 2, and I assume that Ian? Yep. Would you like to come and address us? It's in relation to a request for highway improvements from Ian Smith here. And he is concerned about the speed limit on Valley Road, which he wishes to see reduced down to 30 miles an hour. It is currently open, so potentially up to 60 miles an hour down to the bottom. So he would like to see that reduced because of the danger of access to and out of the recycling centre. I'll push the button on your right, the green one, and if you're welcome to address us.
Hello, my name's Ian Smith. Recently put in it's taken about 2 years to get to this stage because I originally came in almost a year and a half, almost 2 years ago to a council meeting. And I was told, someone would contact me, and they never did. But I chased it out last year and was sent the form in due course to fill in. So most probably, if people are raising points like this, that needs to come in a bit quicker. But I understand it was explained to me that there was obviously a change of town clerks a number of times, and that most probably got omitted. So my concern with the Valley Road and I remember one of the reasons that was put to me when I suggested it first time was that it might need to go to Northwestern or one of the parish councils over there, that they might be responsible for that area. And that was a question I thought was going to be asked. But when I've looked at it, the 30-mile-an-hour sign, the national speed limit sign by the police station at Valley Road, that is actually in this parish. So one would think that you would have jurisdiction over what that sign says, or at least a recommendation on what that sign says. So over the years I've been here, I've lived here for about 31 years and more. I remember when the civic site was actually just down the road here, where the flats were. The recycling centre is a great asset and it's in a good spot. But I've always felt that the access is dangerous, and coming and leaving because I have to turn right to come out of there after visiting the thing, and I haven't got necessarily slow cars, but when you're turning right, you can't necessarily stick your foot down, you'll be spinning all over the shop. There's been a number of occasions where a car's come down relatively quickly and made me, you know, sort of not panic, but think, that's a bit close for a comfort. And when you've been involved in traumatic accidents in the past, it can bring back, visions of those accidents, and it's not always very nice. So it's something that, I thought, well, actually, if I'm thinking of this, then I ought to raise it with yourselves. I think reducing it down to 30 miles an hour, or, all the time, or at least whilst the site is open, which may be a bit more problematic to implement, would be a good idea. Not necessarily, people, there always obey speed limits, etc., as we all know, but then that's their choice. I think there's a slow sign, I think, before you reach the entrance, but again, people may or may not see that. The vegetation that's around the outside of the, just up the road and down the road is a bit obstructive for people leaving the site, and also for people coming down the road to see if there's anyone leaving the site. So that may be a consideration. But I think to slow the vehicles down would be, speed can injure. The faster you're going, the worse the injuries would be. I did some quick measurements. I think I put the photos on the document. Maybe a little bit rough shod the way I measured it. I used it. I used Google Maps and basically because I didn't want to be walking up and down the road measuring. Come up with that it was about 45 meters in either direction, the visibility ish, 45, 50 meters. So the safe work, when you look at stopping distances, braking, you need to be doing 30 miles an hour to stop in that time, in that distance. So that was all the proposal, and I didn't know what your thoughts would be on it. Whether I filled in the whether I've been given enough detail in the document I completed, and basically what happens hereafter. Now I've submitted this. Does it? Do you have to put a recommendation into the North Somerset, or to?
It goes on a list.
It was on the list.
It goes on the list, and don't be expecting anything
too quickly.
Too quickly, no. You might be right.
I'm sure I saw something. I read something. I couldn't find it again, where something is considered every March and September or something. But I couldn't remember.
I'm not sure. Yes, I think you could be right. I mean, I think you could be technically right that the bottom at the T-junction is probably in Western Gordano's parish. So the sign there, presumably there's one showing unrestricted speed coming up, could well be something that they could be dealing with. But no, this will get submitted by us, because I think you've raised a good point. Whether it's considered to be a built-up area and therefore not under the jurisdiction of 30 miles an hour, and it could therefore be 40. I don't know, but like sheep.
I mean, in some respects, where it's a built-up area, not. I mean, you've got the police.
Well, now
you've got the
that's
policing there as well now. So you've got two actual functioning sort of bit concerns.
Yeah.
And the reduced speed limits at schools, you've reduced speed limits in various other places. So I
Mhm.
don't really see, when you've got a civic, you've got large lorries, you've got slow vehicles, you've got vehicles with trailers, you've got vans,
Yeah,
loaded up, unloaded,
Yeah.
people rushing in and they're distracted, most probably because, you know, the queues, etc. There's new booking systems coming in.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'm surprised there hasn't been a serious accident there, because I too
Yeah.
turn right when I leave. Bob, you have comment?
Yeah, it's just a couple of things. The CrashMat UK, which is used by the police force, however, it's never accurate. According to that, there was 2 incidents, one in 2024, which was right by the recycle centre, and one slightly up on the bend as you just go up in 2022. I can also tell you that Dave Werriott, who used to be the voluntary speed watch for Porter's Head, and myself monitored said Valley Road for 2 hours. The average speed of the cars that travel down that road is 45 miles an hour.
Where were you standing, Bob, when you did it?
So that was on the lay-by, just above the recycle centre.
Where people parked to go into
That's
the
right.
place?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
interesting.
If 45 miles an hour is probably not enough distance, 45 meters is not enough to stop.
Okay, Roger first.
So I think we all feel sometimes if we take our life in our hands when we pull out of that centre, and it is unfortunate that people come down that road far too quickly. And I think the major issue is people coming down the hill, not people going up the hill, because the visibility is better for the people coming up the hill. My fear here is that in attempting to change the speed limit, we would be setting off a whole host of events that requires highways engineers and everything else, that just pushes it further and further and further down the list, because there's no real pedestrian usage around there. It wouldn't be a priority. But I do wonder if some of those lovely white road markings that they put in either side to make the road look narrower than it is on the way down might actually pay dividends in this case. It's something that the town council could do, or could arrange to be done, or could encourage North Somerset to do by making some form of contribution towards it. But of course, as we all know, sticking up a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit sign doesn't stop people from going over 30 miles an hour. And on the whole, we get a lot of complaints from people around Portishead saying people are doing 60 miles an hour down my 30-mile-an-hour street. So it's, I mean, yes, in an ideal world, I would say we should put a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit on there. It may not make any difference at all. It may take 2 or 3 years to do. We might be able to get white lined zigzag markings or something on the side of the road to slow traffic down in the meantime whilst we wait for that, and that might be a halfway house. So there are ways of dealing with it. That may not be the only way, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But would if you can put zigzags down, would you be able to put rumble strips and things like that across the road?
No.
No? So what's the difference between
You can't put the rumble strips unless you reduce the speed limit, and of course, reduction in speed limit would require the police to agree to it as well, wouldn't it? They have to, I think.
I would imagine.
I think they're a consultee on that. So if we ask for it to be reduced, it goes to the police, and the police say whether or not they would support it. And if they don't support it, maybe because their cars drive down there, but who knows? If they don't support it, it doesn't get done. So that's the other thing.
David.
But the thing is that it will be submitted, it will be reviewed by who.
We will get,
and
it will go
if
into
they decide not to do it. Yeah.
Well, we shall see. David.
I mean, 2 or 3 things to say. First of all, I've been fighting for the last year and a half to get speed reductions on Nor Road and where it goes down to Cabstand, and there have been multiple accidents along that road, including a death 12 years ago.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
believe you me, it's taken a long time to get it into the system, and it still hasn't got out of the end of the system in terms of being approved for traffic calming measures.
Mhm.
So I think the first thing to say is nothing is going to happen quickly. I sent North Somerset a reminder only over the weekend to find out what happened to the proposal, but it's a complex and frustrating process. I think I haven't had a chance to read in detail what you've written there, but the more things you can put in your application, the better. So Bob's mentioned crash map data.
Yeah, well, I don't have
Well,
that
I would
information.
update it with that. And I mean, North Somerset have a scoring system by which they prioritise schemes for taking forward, which include serious injuries, include interference with traffic flow for buses, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head the other sort of three prioritisation measures they use, but it's got to pass on because of the constraints with local government funding. It becomes increasingly difficult to make these changes. You talked about the ward boundaries. I was just looking at the ward boundaries on the map here, and I can see it's a tricky one, isn't it? The top end is in West Ward. The bottom end, I think, does fall within Western Corte.
Yes.
But the point is, it's in North Somerset, and North Somerset Council have responsibility for sorting it out. And it's a question of semantics who puts it in.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like any of these things, it always takes a tragedy to actually make people sit up and notice and do something about it. And it's like, get ahead of the curve. We see so much, government stuff and council stuff.
It's a frustration.
It's frustrating for residents and everything. And I'm sure that, the residents of this town should be supportive of something like that. You've all said you all feel a little bit squeaky bum when you're pulling out of there if you're turning right. And I'm sure that must be the case for many residents.
I think we've all said we support it. All I'm saying is that I think it might be difficult to realise it, given my experiences with Nor Road and Capstone.
Well, I can take that on board and not expect anything to.
Well, on that matter, Ian, do you wish to withdraw this particular one and resubmit in a couple of weeks or something?
Put it through as it is.
Okay.
Because it's taken 18 months before.
All right.
And I'd rather get through just in case we miss the next.
All right. We'll do that, and
we'll see what
maybe take up some of these sort of thoughts that Roger had in relation to white lines or reduce your speed written across the road or something like that.
I would work with your ward count, so it'd be a West Ward councillor. I'd work with one of them.
Sue Mason or Nicola Holland.
No, I thought it was Emma Blackmore.
Oh, she's town councillor.
Oh, sorry, you mean
But if you go to a
Ward councillor, take it up with one of the wards. Yeah.
And it'll be submitted by the town council. So the person to hear back from with progress will be from the town council.
Right. Okay.
Right.
I honestly would I think putting it in without data on actual incidents.
Yeah, but that means I've got a busy time coming up right at this moment. So for me to sort of spend a lot more time looking at some, I'm a very
given us a couple of details, so we can always.
Like I said before, the trouble with Crashback, although it's used by the police, the data is incorrect. I've been on several incidents that have not been related to moved over to CrashMap, and also obviously unless you subscribe, you're 2 years behind as well with the information, so you have to pay to get the updated information. It's this thing of paying just to get a little bit of information from somebody, which I totally disagree with. But like I said, this is not 100% correct. And the only way to get 100% is literally monitor it yourself or a group of people monitoring, which is why we really need to get the Speedwatch team back up and running. But it's difficult to try and find people to join.
But that's another, at least it's an indication of there having been incidences that have been logged.
So I'm happy for it to go through as it is at
all
the
right.
moment, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay,
and I don't know how we get fed back about what happens. Have I got on
Well, we have your details.
So I have personally chased up.
Have you?
Waste department.
Right, okay.
So I think I best get in touch with
Yeah.
the waste department.
I'll have a dig around and see when they have their, next
Okay.
things. I think it might be March or September.
We might be able to let you know. So we have your contact details anyway, don't
All
we?
right, well,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Right, I have another one, which is in relation to Avon Way and the proposed signage for the presence of hedgehogs. And someone's gone to the trouble of putting a little log here of sightings of hedgehogs and sadly deaths of hedgehogs, of which there are some at predominantly the bottom of Avon Way where it joins Coombe Road and Coombe Avenue. So it's really just a proposal to put that forward onto the list. It has to be signed by one of the ward councillors. Whose ward is that one? Is it still West? Yeah, Avon Way.
Well, some Avon Ways in my ward, so I'm happy to sign it.
I think that's something that you can do right now. Yeah, I mentioned to you the late appeal. That was in relation to 259 Eastcliff, which was the insertion of a balcony. Do you remember, around the back of one of the properties there? So that's gone to appeal. And then you've got your list of other matters. Yes.
On the list of other matters, I just wanted to note on there, he said, if I can find it quickly, that there was a proposal to cut down an ash tree in the Royal
Yes.
for no other reason but to allow light into the garden area, which I believe as a council or as a committee we raised an objection to, but it looks like that one's gone through fully unopposed, which I think we should say is disappointing that that a mature and healthy tree has been cut down. Sorry, I didn't get that. But yes, sorry, don't make it right too many things, did you say? Yeah, no, I just
No,
think
I didn't.
disappointing.
No, there's a bit of a tail behind that, I'm afraid, Roger. Okay, yeah, no, sadly, we know that.
Grace cut the tree
Wielding the chainsaw. I can also tell you that the solar panels on the nautical school got refused on the grounds of the aesthetics on a listed building. Okay, next meeting is on the 4th of March, and therefore I'll close the meeting.
Thank you very much.